Okay, so I don't know what happened to iPhone rotation in landscape. I've not been live before. I mean on portrait or in portrait format. It's not good, but again, we have nothing to do. I think there's something wrong with the system that I need to rectify when I find the time. But I feel like it's a bit dark. Am I the one seeing that? Okay. Yeah, looks a bit dark. But let me know if it's clear. You can see me, and if I am not too dark, so that I can be able to balance it out. Okay. I'm thinking I'm taking all the extra light off, but I am not saying, okay. You're saying it's fine. Okay, if it's fine, it's fine. If you can see me, you can see me. I want us to talk about improving your public speaking. Because public speaking, we literally have to do public speaking everywhere we go if we want to be successful in life. Any kind of success that you want to attain, whether as an employee, as an employer, as a volunteer, as an NGO, as whichever it is. And when it comes to your passion, then it even becomes worse, because then you are the soul, you are the product, you are the brand, you are the one that speaks for the brand, you are the marketer of the brand, you are everything. So that means that how you market yourself and how you sell yourself and how you present yourself is really very, very, very crucial. Okay. So I want you to be with me on this, and I want you to ask as many questions as you can. And it's good to have you. Hi, Doctor. It's fine. Okay, great. If you can see me, that's okay. I felt I was a bit dark, but if it's fine by you, then it's fine by me. Okay, so let's go on the way we are. So bring those questions as early as possible so that we can go through them, and then I can leave you for the night. I know that most of you have really spared this time so we could go through these things. I'm happy for you because you've invested in yourself. If you watched my previous video, and I hope that you watch it, if you've not yet watched it after this live, please go back and watch that live. So that, no, it wasn't a live, it was a video. Watch that video, and I was basically talking about how to survive, or how to thrive, not even survive, how to thrive in and places of uncertainty, and during a pandemic, and how things have gone berserk, upside down. But again, life has to go on. We have to eat, we have to work, we have to go on, we have to create relationships, we have to marry, we have to give birth, we have, like, everything is normal, okay? And we cannot be the ones that fold our arms and say, you know what, the world is crumbling down, and so we are giving up on our lives. There is nothing like giving up on our lives. Okay, Lillian, good to have you. And good to have you here. So I want us to talk about that. We're not going to talk about so many things. Pumuza, and good to have you as well. But you realize you need public speaking. You need to have the essentials, or just the techniques, the basics of public speaking, so that you can build on that. I know you will do research. I know that you will learn through experience. I have learned a lot through experience. How I began my journey is not where I am right now. Right now, even if you woke me up at 3 a.m. and give me a topic brand new, I mean fresh, something I've not read about, I will find a way of discussing that, and I can speak about it for 5 hours non-stop. Why? Because I have enlarged my mind. I have enriched my life. I have read, I have spoken, I have consulted, I have done everything possible. And we will talk about the most crucial thing: embodying your message. I know that when you just say it the way I'm saying it right now, you cannot understand it, but we are going to break it down so that you are able to understand it. Because some of us, what kills us I don't know if you've gone for a presentation, if you've ever gone for a presentation, and then you get there, and then words, like you don't have words. The words run away. Like your intellect betrays you, because we are all intellectuals. Think about it. Your brain is super, 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 super intelligent. Why does it fail on you? Why does it betray you? The last minute, when the nervousness comes, when the fear fills you and grips you, and all of a sudden you feel like you're a toddler, you cannot speak, you look down on your nails, and then you hold yourself, and then you look around and you panic and you shake. Why? Because you're just either giving an answer or a response in a boardroom, or you're meeting your boss and you want a raise, you want a promotion, or you're talking to your fellow workers and you have to address them about a certain issue, or you are speaking up in your relationship and saying that I cannot settle for this is less than what I deserve. So public speaking applies in every area of your life. Even when you're a parent, you have to apply public speaking, tools and techniques in order to be able to bring up those children well. So whatever it is, you need public speaking tools. So we're talking about how to improve your public speaking skills. I know that we all speak. I know that you speak, and I know that you aspire to be a global speaker, because that is part of what I'm doing, training global speakers. I'm not just training national speakers. No, this is beyond us. We're in a global village right now. And if we are in a global village, that means that we are working with people that we have never seen before. And we are working across continents. That means that if you're invited for a virtual event, literally anywhere in the world can attend that virtual event. So you had better been on your A game, okay? So I want us to start and say that the only way to overcome fear is to act. I know I've given an assignment to so many of us, actually to all of us, to shoot videos, and so many of you have not shot videos. I am still waiting for those videos. None of you is graduating without those videos, okay? And I don't want to give you retakes. I want you to be able to graduate and get to the next level, okay? So I want us to agree that the only thing that will chase away the fear that you feel is action. So start doing. Shoot that video, use that phone. I mean, send it to me. You might not post it, but send it to me. I'll just guide you on a few things, how you start and how your middle part is and what you do after that. I would love to be a part of that journey. And when you perfect, you will look back and you'll be like, oh my, what was exactly happening in this place, okay? So I want you to honor these days of small beginnings, and I want you to be able to be proud of yourself that actually you started, okay? So make sure that you do the do, okay? Act. That is the only way fear is going to go away. And I really get concerned whenever I don't get butterflies. Even right now, when I'm invited to speak, the nerves come, the fear comes, and it's natural. I get concerned if it does not come, because then I know I'm not going to be on my A game. The moment I feel a bit nervous and I'm like, okay, what am I going to say? Is it going to be, all those things are natural. They are going to cross your mind. The only thing is, experience is one thing. That even when I get there, I have changed my messaging so many times. When I get to a place, I've been invited to speak, and all of a sudden I find that the people in that, maybe I asked about the age, I asked about the demographics, but again, I find that these people I cannot understand, or they're not going to click the message that I have brought. And yet it was to the right demographic, it was to the right people. And I'm like, okay, now I am zoning out whatever I prepared, and now I am totally changing direction and talking about something else. Why do I do that? I do that because I have experience. I've done this for the longest time, and I know how to calm myself down. I know how to act, and I know how to face my fears, okay? So the difference between those that succeed at public speaking and those that do not succeed, number one, they act, okay? They go out and do what they need to do, okay? And then number two, they get concerned when the butterflies don't come, when the nerves don't come. Why? Because then they're not going to put in their A game. They're not going to be on their A game, okay? So I get personally concerned. And I talked about embodying and speaking our messaging in a way that it's not just crammed. Because what kills most of us is when we are invited to speak. This is what people do, and I have seen so many people do that. They go on Google, they do their research. And it's not bad to do research. They write down their points and then they rehearse the points. They start, reading them out loud, moving around and doing all those things, and, like wanting to cram so that when they get there, they're not ashamed because they feel like, you know what, I feel too bad looking at a paper. Everyone will think I'm not an authority in this subject. So I'm not going to look at any outline. I'm not going to look at any paper or any book or any notebook. So I'm going to speak from my mind. So I'm going to internalize these things. And that is what we be telling ourselves. So all of a sudden, you internalize whatever you internalize. And then when you get on stage, even when they just invite you, and it's even worse when they invite you after someone else has spoken, and then they invite you, people are clapping and you're coming and your brain goes like empty, like there is nothing in your mind, okay? And then you feel lost. You feel like your saliva is, getting lost. You feel like your lips are sticky. You feel like your tongue is running out of lubrication, and then you sweat, you start shaking. Even when you're holding either a notepad or something, you start shaking, and then you get there, you don't know how to even open. Remember, you rehearsed. Remember, you went through whatever it is that you had to say, but here you are, everything is falling apart. Your intellect is betraying you, okay? I mean, even the wisest of the wisest, even the most influential people, they have been betrayed by their intellect. So you can never trust your brain to cram and retrieve, okay? That we did maybe in secondary, or when we wrote what with those summaries and stuff like that. I don't know whether you did, but Momolembo Gwange Ogwa analog, I used to write summaries, and those small tiny things, and then you would go through them and then you will try to cram and stuff like that. But here I want to flip the script and tell you what has worked for me like 100%. It is embodying your message, living your message. Like, I do not go to a place to speak when something is not part of me. Like, I own a character. It's like I'm an actor that has been invited to Hollywood or to Yugawood, and I've been given a script, and then I enter into that script. Whether I've been given to act an old woman, or I've been given to act a weird, crazy mother-in-law or a stepmother. What I call embodying is you enter the message, like you put it on like a garment. It becomes a part of you. Like it's marinating yourself in the content. So you and the content are one, and even when you get there, you don't have to remember word for word of what you wrote, or word for word of what you crammed, or word for word of what you prepared, but you embodied this message. Okay, now, and that is when we bring in the storytelling. Because if I format all my points, and if I say, okay, I have how many minutes? I have like 60 minutes. I told us that when I'm invited to speak for 60 minutes, that is an hour, I make sure that I break it into two. Because whatever I come bearing, or whatever I come bringing, the message I'm the one that has thought about it according to the theme that has been given to me, and so I'm coming to deliver. But again, there are people in the room that are going through particular things that need tailor-made and custom-made things. So I reserve the 30 minutes for that, questions and answers. Now, in my 30 minutes, then I have to break it down and know that I am going to speak about every point. Whether I have 5 points or I have 3 points, that means I have to break it down into phases. I can do an introduction of 2 minutes to 3 minutes, okay, and then I will do an outro of 3 to 3 when I'm linking into the question and answers, and then I will say, okay, in these 5 points, and I have 25 minutes, so I have to divide them. That means that for every point, I have to bring out the scenario, I have to bring out a story or an example about it, and then I have to explain my point. That means I have broken every point into 3 parts. That I have to bring that point, I have to bring a story behind it because I embodied it and it is part of me. I looked at areas in my life where it applied, because people are not stupid. They do not want your head knowledge. They don't want Googled stuff. If you bring Googled stuff, I might as well have gone to a Google instead of coming to a conference. Okay? So if I came to a conference, hello, I want your story. I want your embodiment. I want you as a person. I am what? I am consuming you, okay? So can you give it to me the way it's supposed to be given to me? Can you deliver it in a way that it will grip my emotions? Can you deliver it in a way that it will make sense to me? It will be relatable. It will be life-changing. It will be transforming, okay? And that is the only way to do it, is embodying it and bringing it. Because when I bring a point and I bring it in form of a story, and I've done these stories so many times when I'm talking to you, you can literally see that, you know what, like that is me. You find yourself in the story. You find yourself in my journey. And even if you don't find yourself in my journey, you have pity on me, or you have emotions towards the story that I'm telling you. I have embodied the story, and now I am presenting it to you. And that is a very strong messaging, a very strong tool. Charity, good to have you. So I want you to quit or to stop trusting your intellect, because so many people actually trust their intellect, which fails them and brings stress. Because whenever, let me just say, I don't know if you've ever been in, I've ever been, I remember Sunday school days when we used to cram the books of the Bible, and then like you cram them in a certain way that I mean, one leads to another, like they gel in. And so this is what would happen if you forgot one book. You would not remember the rest. Like you would not remember the rest. And remember, your brain is going into the stress mode, and so you are trying to make sure that you remember. You're gathering all the info and it's just not coming, and you're thinking, okay, what's happening to me? This is not how I envisioned it. This is not how I wanted it to be. And then all of a sudden you have to I mean, you're looking at the stars. Have you ever been somewhere and you look at the stars, or the stars come shining? Why? Because your mind cannot actually comprehend what is happening. Okay, so quit trusting your intellect. I know your brain is super good, but it can never be super good when stress kicks in. When stress kicks in, it erases. It's like a rubber. It erases everything that you had. Then you start thinking, are they clicking? Do they understand? Have you ever spoken in a multitude of people? And some people used to say, you know, when you're speaking, public speaking, make sure that you just look over their heads. No, you cannot look at people over their heads. You have to look at them in their eyes. You have to find the affirmation. You have to find the clicking moment. And there are times when your eyes are interlocked with someone and you just feel like whatever, they are taking in everything that you are saying. And that's a beautiful moment. So I don't want you to lose that. I want you to be able to embrace that, because it's beautiful, okay? So don't look over their heads. Make sure that you actually do what you need to do, which is embodying the message. Do not trust your brain, okay? And make sure that you divide your speech into scenes, okay? And today I told you we're not going to spend so much time. We are here just for 30 minutes and then we'll be gone. But when I say break it down into scenes, that means you're going to be able, let me say, for example, you break it down into 3 scenes. The 3 scenes are the 3, and that is how all the actors are able to actually even get into their acting role, because they get into that moment. If it's a moment of anger, if it's a scene of anger, they put it on and they go ahead. I was just watching a clip a few minutes ago when Oprah cried when she was interviewing someone. I don't know where she was from, but she was an actress. And then she was saying that the hardest part for her to act in a certain movie, it was the part where she had to be held a certain way, like it was like there was physical abuse and something like that, and she had to be held a certain way, and it, you know, sparked off and triggered trauma. And like to everyone that was watching was like, wow, how did she do that? But she says that she surrendered in the moment and she just let go, and she just chose to just concentrate, okay, and just be part of what was happening. And she says that actually after that she had to go and look for a counselor and tell her, you know what, I am lost, I don't know what's happening to me, but I I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am right now, because she had surrendered to a certain moment. Now, when you embody a message, like, you become it. And the reason as to why so many times I will give the examples that I give. I will say the stories that I will say. It's because they have become a part of me, that I have put them on so many times, and I can easily retrieve them anytime that I need. I can speak something that I spoke 5 years ago, and in my heart it will be fresh. In my heart it will be, why? Because I embodied it and it got into me. I marinated with it and it's part of me. So I want you to be able to own it up. I want you to be able to get into the emotions. I want you to be able to bring out the feeling. I want you to be able to, so if it doesn't have the emotional attachment, if it doesn't have the feeling, then you do not communicate it. When you're invited to speak, you'd rather speak less, have few scenes that you embody, and say, okay, I'm breaking up my speech into 5 scenes, and these scenes, this is this is what's happening. I'm going to go from one scene to another, and they're not going to be in any particular order, because order actually brings stress. Because when they go in a particular order, have you ever what were they called, acronym, something like that? I remember, you would write certain letters to say, okay, like April, and then for every letter there's a word that matches it. But if you forget one letter, then you forget the rest of the letters. That is how it used to work. So even this, you don't want to have scenes that, after this I'm going to say this, and then after this I'm going to say this, after this I'm going to say this. No, you have to be very, yes, acronym, yes, that exactly that. And then you have to know that you are wise enough, your brain has all the information that you need, and you can tweak it and use it wherever you feel possible. And because you have embodied it, you do not have the stress of forgetting, because you have become one with the script. So you can actually have an outline, okay? And I want you to have an outline at all times. I don't want you to trust your brain. Have an outline, and it's okay to look at it, okay? Look at it and then go on and explain. Look at it and then go on and explain and talk about, give the examples, give the story, and make sure that when you give the story, public speaking, make sure that you bring us on a journey of feeling the story that you are actually telling us. Now, use elaborative words and explaining words. For example, when you say, okay, it was a cold morning. Now, you cannot say it was a cold morning when you are just moving around. You cannot say it was a cold. When you say it was a cold morning, make sure you're holding yourself. Make sure, like, in my heart, or wherever I am seated and I am listening, I'm actually coming into that emotion with you, because you said it was a cold morning when it happened. And when you say, for example, you're explaining about fear, and you're like, okay, I went through a very dark place, and there was no sound, everything was quiet, and all of a sudden there was a tapping, like footsteps of someone that was following me, and the hair on my back was standing, and the goosebumps that I was feeling. As in, explain the feeling. Okay, get me into that feeling. Because when I tell you right now, I'm not going to do this with you, but I want you to think about it. That if I tell you to close your eyes right now, and I tell you to hold your hands in front of you and feel like you're holding a lemon, and if you take that lemon, you don't have a lemon, but if you take that lemon and put it on your mouth, like figuratively, you don't have to do it literally, and put it on your mouth, you realize, and I didn't ask you what you felt, but if you put it close, you will feel like saliva is running through, and it is running through just because of the imagination that you imagined holding a lemon, and you biting into the lemon, and you know what a lemon does, and then you're getting all the saliva running through your mouth. And then why? It is a feeling. You explain it because most of us, we need to tap into people's imaginations. We need to tap into their fantasy. We need to tap into their emotions. So it is relatable. Let me tell you, I've spoken to at places where people have literally broken down and cried. Why? Because what I said reminded them of an exact place where they were and what they were doing. I have written books, and someone says, I read a book and I got to a place place where it was my exact story, like word for word, and I felt the pain coming all over again. I had to close the book. I had to put it away so that I can read it some other time. I felt like skipping the chapter because it brought all the fresh memories. Now, that is the trigger because we can never heal until we open the wound. So we have to open people's wounds. We have to inspire them by touching their emotions because motivation is short-lived. Motivation is like bathing. You bathe every day. But again, what stays with us are the stories. What stays with us is the embodiment. Like, have you ever watched someone present something and they look it, they smell it, and every time you get into a situation, you remember that person moving on that podium and you are moved into action, you are inspired, you are motivated beyond what you ever thought. Why? They embodied the message. So tonight's message is very clear and very simple. I want us to become our messages, okay? And I want you, the last bit, I want you to prepare yourself. You never know when chance comes knocking. You can never know when chance comes knocking. So I want you to prepare yourself. I told us to write 50 problems. Let me tell you, it all begins with solving people's problems. If you're a public speaker, the reason as to why you will be paid is to solve someone's problem. If you're not adding value, then we don't need you on the podium. Do not even touch the microphone. Do not even promote yourself as a public speaker, okay? Because then you have nothing to do. Everything that we do is geared towards solving a problem. So if you can solve a problem, if someone says, I procrastinate a lot, but there's this event. They're going to talk about procrastination and how to stop self sabotaging. Then everyone is like, "That is my kind of event because I self-sabotage and I'm a procrastinator." They want you to solve their problem. So do not come with the almighty ties and all feeling nice with all the airs and with all your majesty. Yes, we know you have all the glories and all, but come here and solve the problem. Get your hands dirty. Get to know my issue. Get to know what I'm going through. What is my perspective? What are my expectations? Because every crowd has an expectation. And sometimes when you do not even perform according to their expectation, most of them will walk away and say, I wasted my time. I wasted 30 minutes of my time sitting at that conference to let that person speak at me because they feel you're speaking at them. Engage them, okay? Know their problems and solve their problems. So I want you to be able to take it seriously. All the coaching, the mentoring, the consulting, the counseling, it all centers around problem solving because the world has so many problems and they're not about to vanish, and the world is actually creating more problems, okay? So make sure that you are at a place that is that is very advantaged because you can be able to see people's problems, go into communities, talk to people, and make sure that you tailor make all your answers around people's problems. And let me tell you, you're going to be the messenger that everyone will want to listen to, everyone will adore, and everyone will feel impacted. These are the kind of statements you want to hear. You changed my life. That one time I listened to you, my life was never the same again. I did not commit suicide because of you. Your words were so encouraging. They were motivating. And I want you to hear those words. I want you to get the feedback from people. And it's very possible. So and let me just look at a few of these as we go ahead. Okay, Karunji Josephine, good to have you. Blessed Christian Najuma, good to have you. Maya, good to have you. Alan, we should embody the content we present exactly. We should be the embodiment of what we're talking about exactly. Okay, but I'm scared of looking at my book because I'm scared of judgment. Let that go. We should look over their heads. Yes, look at them in the eye, okay? And yes, that was an acronym. Exactly. Awesome lesson. Thanks, coach. I'm learning. We need to break our talks in scenes and have an outline to guide. Exactly. Joan Comfort, good to have you. That is the Transformers president. Good to have you. And Karunji Josephine, yes, relatable stories always touch people and to become our messages. Exactly. And Okay, thank you so much, Coach. That is blessed Christian, and so I would love to know, because you guys are going to be huge global speakers. You're going to impact lives. You're going to change lives, and you are going to do it in so many ways that you ever imagined in your life. Okay, I have experience. I've experienced in your book, Deliberately Selfish. I'm glad. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, and so I want you to train your mind. I want you to prepare as much as possible. Write down different topics, research on them, and write down your pointers. You never know when the doors come opening, and the doors are going to open in ways that you don't imagine. Okay, so prepare yourself. Start by shooting videos. There is no way you can begin in the deep waters. Start in the shallow waters. Record yourself. Send the video to me. Let me look at it. Let me show you how best to tweak or adjust certain things, and then let's grow together. Okay, so I love you, and from me to you is going to be a good night for tonight. I want you to think about that, and I want you to actually apply it, and I want to see your videos running. I want to see your YouTube very active, and I want to see you gaining ground and going up and up and up and changing levels, and I know that that is very possible. So let's transform the world together. From me to you is a good night.